I want you to just picture a massive sports book. You walk in, and there's that wall of TVs, maybe 100 of them.
Right. Total visual overload.
And they're not all showing the same thing. You've got cable boxes, satellite feeds, PCs. It's got to be this perfectly orchestrated chaos.
It's the kind of thing you never, ever notice until it breaks.
Exactly. One screen goes black during the final play, and suddenly it's a crisis.
A big one.
And managing that chaos is what we're digging into today. We're looking at the sort of the brain behind these setups, the WolfPack modular matrix switchers from HDTV Supply.
And specifically, we're zooming in on a new piece of hardware, their 4-port HDMI Input Card.
Right, because this seems to be the linchpin. And the real headline here isn't just that it handles video, it's the scale we're talking about.
Well, the scale is huge. These systems, these chassis, can go from, say, 48 by 48 all the way up to 160 inputs and 160 outlets.
160, that's a lot of TVs. But the mission for this deep dive is really about that one word, modular. Why is that the secret sauce for reliability?
Because usually electronics aren't like that. You get a fixed switcher, and if the port for, input 1 fries itself,
You have a very expensive paperweight.
you do. You have to unrack the entire unit, ship it off, wait for a repair.
Yeah.
The WolfPack way it's just different. It's more like Legos.
So the back of the machine is just a bunch of empty slots.
Exactly. And you slide these cards in, this 4-port HDMI card we're looking at, it just clicks into place. So if that input 1 dies,
You just pull the one card.
you just pull the one card, slide a new one in, and they're hot swappable, which is key. The other 159 screens don't even flicker.
That is the difference between a tiny headache and a full-blown business disaster. So let's talk about the card itself. It's 4K, obviously.
Yep. 4K at 30 hertz, 1080p, 3D, all that. It handles up to 48-bit deep color. So it's, it's got the specs for a high-end command center or sports bar.
Okay, but I did notice something in the documentation that felt a little restrictive. A big do not mix warning.
Yes. The compatibility rule. I wonder if you'd spot that.
It says you can't mix these new 4K cards with the older analog stuff like VGA or DVI in the same box.
Yeah.
For a modular system, that feels kind of inflexible, doesn't it?
It is a constraint, but it's an architectural one. Think of it like putting diesel in a regular car.
Okay.
The internal plumbing, the backplane, is designed purely for this high bandwidth digital 4K signal. If you try to jam an old analog signal in there, the timing it falls apart. The system demands purity. It has to be a 4K 30 world from end to end.
So it's a trade-off. You lose that backward compatibility, but you gain rock-solid stability for the new stuff.
That's the idea.
All right, let's pivot to control. How do you actually tell screen 45 to show input 12?
Well, they have the standard ways. There's an iOS app, an Android app, a WebGI. But for the pros, the integrators.
The people installing this in casinos.
Right. They have drivers for Control 4, Crestron, all the big automation platforms. It plays nice with others.
But I found the really interesting part, the nerd nugget, buried in the manual. They expose the raw RS-232 command protocol.
They do. And it's surprisingly simple.
I have to read this out. The command to switch inputs is literally 8 by 1 and 8 and 16.
And you can see the logic, right? 8 is your input source. X basically means send to, and then 8 and 8 and 16 are your destination screens.
So that one little string of text just blasted the big game from one source to 3 different TVs instantly.
Exactly. It lets you write your own code. You're not stuck with their app if you don't want to be.
Okay, last thing, reliability. We talked about swapping cards, but you'd rather they just not break. I saw they have this thing called the Gaosheng Standard Aging Room.
Sounds a little ominous.
It sounds like a sauna for circuit boards.
And that's pretty much what it is. It's a burn-in test. They run these cards hard for 24 hours in a hot, stressful room. The idea is to make weak parts fail at the factory, not in your bar.
But stuff breaks. Entropy always wins. And if it does fail, their warranty, this WolfPack Care Advance Replace, seemed pretty impressive.
This is the real killer feature for any business that can't afford downtime.
Because usually you have to send the broken part back first, right?
Yeah, you send it in, you wait a week, maybe 2, and your screen is just black.
A dead screen.
With this, you call them, they verify the failure, and they ship the new card out first, usually by air. You get the replacement, you swap it in, and then you mail the broken one back.
They're prioritizing your uptime over their own inventory. That's confidence.
It is. It connects all the high-tech specs with the messy reality of actually running a place. Things break. The real test is how fast you can fix it.
A perfect summary. So next time you're in one of those places, a casino or a giant retail store, and you see that wall of screens.
Don't just look at what's on the screen. Think about what's behind the wall. There's probably a rack with a modular system like this, just sweating the details and keeping the whole show running.
And let's just hope nobody tried to jam an old VGA card in there.
Thanks for listening.